you all this morning? I know it started off as a dreary morning, but I think it's going to get a little bit better today. Hopefully it won't rain all day. But I am very glad that you have joined me this morning for some story time. I'm going to have some coffee. You would think I would remember to drink the coffee before I go on camera, but I did not. Because I just like the taste of it. So I hope that you've been having a good week so far. It's Wednesday, and normally, Wednesday is our special guest day. But our special guest had an emergency appointment, but he will be here next week. Special guest is going to be on Tuesday instead of Wednesday next week, and it is going to be Michael Bobbitt, and he is the artistic director for the new Repertory Theater in Boston. So, and I know him from Washington, D.C., where he was the artistic director of Adventure Theater, which is also a theater for young audiences in Glen Echo, Maryland. So I'm very excited that my friend Michael is going to come and read a story for you because he's lots of fun and he's written some very good scripts for young audiences. So I want to talk to him about that too. But you get me again today. I hope that's not so bad. But I have an old-fashioned story for us today. I'm going back in time a little bit. And we are going to read Rumpelstiltskin. Do you know the story of Rumpelstiltskin? Well, if you don't, that's good because now you're going to learn it. Now, Rumpelstiltskin was a story originally written by the Brothers Grimm, but this version is retold and it's illustrated by Paul Zelinsky. And he did all of these pictures. He did oil paintings for them. I know. And then they took prints of them and made them into a book. Rumpelstiltskin. Once upon a time, there was a poor miller who had a beautiful daughter. On his way to town one day, the miller encountered the king. Oh my, how exciting for the miller. Wanting to impress him, the miller said, "I have a daughter who knows the art of spinning straw into gold." So you know what a spinning wheel is, right? Do you remember Sleeping Beauty? And the evil witch has a spinning wheel. And it spins wool into thread or yarn. Now the king had a passion for gold, and such an art intrigued him. So he ordered the miller to send his daughter to the castle straight away. When the girl was brought before him, the king led her to a room that was filled with straw. He gave her spools and a spinning wheel and said, "You may spin all night, but if you have not spun the straw into gold by morning, you will have to die." With that, he locked the door and the girl was left inside alone. See? Little cutaway section of the castle. All the people, they've got the spinning wheel, all the servants, and then there's the room full of straw. I have a feeling that the miller's daughter has no idea how to spin straw into gold, and that her dad told a big fib. Oh, look, there sat the poor miller's daughter without the slightest idea how anyone could spin straw into gold. See? For the life of her, she did not know what to do. She grew more and more frightened, and then she began to weep. Look at her crying. She knows she's going to die in the morning because she doesn't know how to spin straw into gold. Her dad's a big fibber. Suddenly, the door sprang open and a tiny man stepped in. "Good evening, Mistress Miller," he said. "Why are you sobbing?" "Oh," the girl cried, "I must spin this straw into gold, and I don't know how." There's the little man. Very odd little man. "What will you give me if I spin it for you?" the little man asked. "My necklace," answered the girl. The little man took her necklace and sat down at the spinning wheel. He pulled 3 times. Whirr, 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 and the spool was wound full of gold thread. He fitted another spool on, and whirr, 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 3 pulls, and that one too was full. And so it went until morning, when all the straw was spun and all the spools were full of gold. That is some kind of magic, turning straw into gold. When the king came at sunrise, he was amazed and delighted. But all that gold only made him greedier. Of course it did. So he led the miller's daughter to a larger room filled with straw, and he ordered her to spin this straw too before dawn, if she valued her life. Really? Uh-oh. Looks like the little man came back. The girl did not know what to do. She began to weep. Once more the door opened and the little man stepped in. "What will you give me if I spin this straw into gold for you?" he asked. "The ring on my finger," answered the girl, and the little man took her ring. Then he set the spinning wheel whirring, and before the night was over, he had spun all the straw into gleaming gold. And there he is, taking the ring off her finger. She doesn't look very happy about it. But I guess in the long run, your life or a ring, give up the ring. Shortly after sunrise, the king returned. Piles of golden spools glowed in the morning light. The king rejoiced at the sight of so much gold. But still, he was not satisfied. He led the miller's daughter to a third, even bigger room that was piled high with straw. "Tonight you must spin this straw too," ordered the king, "and if you succeed, you shall become my wife." Because, he thought, I could not find a richer wife in all the world. And see, that's him walking in and seeing the poor miller's daughter fast asleep on all that gold. King is a big greedy pants. Oh my goodness. Look at the size of that room. Oh. When the king left, the little man appeared for the 3rd time. "What will you give me if I spin for you yet once more?" he asked. "I have nothing else," the girl replied. "Then promise that when you become queen, your first child will belong to me." I don't know. The miller's daughter gasped. How could she promise such a thing? And then she thought, but who knows whether that will ever happen? And she could think of no other way to save herself. She promised, and the little man once again spun all the straw into gold. I mean, honestly, would the king have kept his promise? Will he? He will. When the king came in the next morning and found everything as he had wished, he married the miller's beautiful daughter, and she became a queen. A year passed, and the queen brought a handsome baby boy into the world. She gave scarcely a thought to the little man, but one day he appeared suddenly in her room. "Now, give me what you promised me," he demanded. The queen pleaded with the little man. He could take all the royal treasure if he would only let her keep her child. But her pleading was in vain. Then she began to weep so piteously that at last the little man was moved. "I will give you 3 days," he said. "If by the end of that time you know my name, you may keep your child." Long into the night the queen sat and thought the next day, thinking over all the names she had ever heard. That evening the little man returned, beginning with Casper, Melchior, and Balthazar. The queen recited every name she knew, one after another, but to each one the little man replied, "That is not my name." The second day, the queen had inquiries made in town, searching for new names. And when the little man came that evening, she posed the strangest and most unusual ones to him. She tried Beastie Ribs and Lego Ram and String Bones, but he would only reply, "That is not my name." Oh dear. Such a smug-looking fellow. He knows he's going to win. Or is he? Now the queen grew truly frightened, and she sent her most faithful servant into the woods to look for the little man. The servant searched through thickets and over clearings deep into the forest. At last, near the top of a high hill, she spied him. He was riding on a cooking spoon around a great fire and crying out, "I brew my beer, I bake my loaves, and soon the queen's own son I'll claim. Oh, lucky me, for no one knows that Rumpelstiltskin is my name." Ha. The servant made her way back as fast as she could manage, and at midday reached the castle. You can imagine how glad the queen was when she heard the name. And she is spying on Rumpelstiltskin. Later that evening, the little man arrived. "Now, Mrs. Queen," he said, "do you know my name, or do I take the child?" So the queen asked him, "Is your name Will?" "No." "Is your name Phil?" "No." "In that case, is your name Rumpelstiltskin?" "The devil told you that! The devil told you that!" shrieked Rumpelstiltskin. And in a fury, he jumped on his cooking spoon and flew out the window. And he was never heard from again. And there's the poor king who has no idea what's going on. And away flies Rumpelstiltskin on his spoon. The end. I hope you liked it. There's a lot of things in there to talk about. Like, none of this would have happened if the miller's daughter's dad hadn't lied. So all of this started because of a lie. Because the miller wanted to seem very important in front of the king. And I think it really doesn't matter who you're talking to. Everybody wants to feel a little important, but if you have to lie to be important, then you're really not important. You're just kind of sad. So, and then the king, what a greedy king. One would certainly hope that he ended up loving the miller's daughter. I guess they did because they had a baby. But Rumpelstiltskin was kind of mean to want to bargain away a baby. What would he have done with a baby? Too many unanswered questions. All right. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's story. I really loved the pictures. I like good artwork. And I found it interesting that they were all done as oil paintings first. Miss Kristen will be here tomorrow to read a story to you. And Miss Jeannie will be back on Friday. So have a wonderful day, everybody. Enjoy doing fun things today. Find something really fun to do. And don't forget, as Miss Jeannie says, remember to lead with kindness. All right, everyone. I will see you all soon.